today. This Saturday night, it goes down in the UFC Apex, as in the main event, Brandon Royval steps in the octagon with Tetsuro Taira. Also, what about Brad Tavares stepping in the octagon with the Iron Turtle? What do you think about that? A veteran versus a semi-vet. Also, it's a pretty skimpy card. It really is. It's a skimpy card. There ain't a whole lot going on, but we gonna try to make it work. All of this and more on today's episode of Matter of Fact MMA. What's up? What's happening? Let's go. What's up, guys? We right back at it. We right back with it. It's your boy Matt and my guy Don Corleone, Vito Corleone, and it's going down this Saturday night, UFC Apex. I don't even know what number is. Apex 90 something. I'll drop it right here. Boop. Bro. This is going to be a little rough, a little rocky, but let's get into it because this card's a little skimpy. A couple of names, but it's a little skimpy. Let's start out the tippity top with the main event at flyweight. Brandon Royval steps in the octagon with Tetsuro Taira. So here's the thing, man. Taira is definitely a contender. He's definitely in the conversation. Brandon Royval's already fought for the championship. Wasn't that good of a showing, but he's already fought for the championship. He kind of stalled out a little bit. Looked like the moment kind of engulfed him, if you will, you know what I'm saying, against many men, Pantoja. With that being said, though, as I look at Brandon Royval's career, he seems like a guy that genuinely, when he gets to the main fight, that either is going to catapult him to a title shot, or he gets to the title shot, it seems like he tends to, almost Cowboy Cerrone it. You know what I'm saying? If you understand what I mean, he just can't win that big major fight. Now, he has won major fights to get to the title shot. So that's no knock on him. I mean, he is the raw dog, you know what I'm talking about. But I don't know, man. I feel like at this point, Tetsuro is riding all of the momentum. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely, everyone's definitely been looking at him like he's a contender. So honestly, man, it's going to be hard to pick against him. I know Brandon Royval has had the better strength of schedule. He's been in there with a lot of the top people in the sport, a lot of the probably guys that will go down as legends at flyweight. But I'm going to go along with Tetsuro Taira to go out there and get the win. I think that the difference here is going to be his grappling and his wrestling and his transitions into submissions. I think that's going to be exactly what he's going to use to defeat Brandon Royval. So I'm going along with Taira to get the win. Let's move on in the co-main event. This is the co. We got Brad Tavares, veteran of the sport, stepping in there with Jung Young Park. Now, man, I'm a fan of Jung Young Park, fan of the Iron Turtle, but Brandon Tavares is one of those sneaky, tricky veteran fighters, you know what I'm saying? Sneaky in the sense that, you lock him in the octagon with quite a few guys in his division, and you're feeling like Brad Tavares is going to take this L. And then he's got that veteran savvy, you know what I'm talking about? I mean, let's be real. Guys got good submissions. Okay? If he gets to your back, or if he gets a head and arm triangle, it's over, right? His wrestling, his grappling tends to put him into a position to lock you in a head and arm triangle, or tends to put him in a position to eventually get your back. You know what I'm saying? He's not a complete offensive wrestler where he's going to offensively wrestle you to the ground, then keep going for elbows, going for ground strikes, maybe transition to a submission. He's going to wrestle you down to the ground and hold you. But the difference between him and a lame like Mario Bautista is that Brad Tavares will hold you down, but eventually he's going to transition to try to submit you. Or eventually, when he has you, maybe has your upper torso, your neck almost backed up against the side of the octagon where there's no place for you to go, he will lay in elbows and punches and get you up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Plus, he cracks on the feet. Now, Jung Young Park definitely has good grappling. He's not that much of a wrestler, so to speak. You know, he has some fairly good takedowns, you know, not kind of sloppy entries, but he will take you down. But I just think Brad Tavares is just being a veteran of the sport, fighting a who's who in the octagon is going to be the difference maker here. So I'm going to go along with Brad Tavares to go out there and get the win. Next, we have Chidi Njokuani stepping in there with Jared Gooden. I got Chidi bang bang all day. Jared Gooden, he's the perfect fighter that the UFC keeps on the roster to go in there and get horribly submitted, or even better, horribly knocked out. He's just one of those guys. When he gets knocked out, he's going to get knocked out in a spectacular fashion. When he gets submitted, he'll get submitted in a spectacular fashion. He's just a weird kind of quirky guy. He says random stuff during the fight. Sometimes he'll fake like he's hurt when he ain't really hurt. But it's like one of those things where it's like, Jared, give it a little bit of time. You about to be hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because his defense is trash. So, I mean, it's like he's there to be hit. I'm going along with Chitty Chitty Bang Bang to go out there and get the win. Next, we have Grant Dawson stepping in there with Rafa Garcia. Tricky one because, I mean, everything is telling you to choose Grant Dawson. I think he's the more well-rounded fighter. But Grant Dawson hasn't been the same his last few fights as he was a few years ago. Rafa Garcia is a shocking guy. You never know when Rafa Garcia will lay a hand on you, lay a fist on you, and your night is getting rough at that point. But I'm going to go along with Grant Dawson to go out there and get the win. I think overall he's the way more well-rounded fighter, and I think he should go out there and get the win. Next, we have D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez, stepping in there with Alex Morono. You know, the last few times I've seen D-Rod fight, D-Rod is looking a little bit older and a little bit slower. And it doesn't quite seem like his endurance or stamina is there. Alex Morono isn't the best, and Alex Morono's the kind of guy that'll win the first and second round and then just fall apart in the third. He completely fell apart in his last fight. I mean, this homie, he completely fell apart in his fight against Nico Price. But, and he took a loss to Nico Price. It's rough. I'm actually going to go along with the underdog. I'm going to go along with Alex Morono because something tells me that Father Time seems like it's kind of catching up with D-Rod. I'm going to go along with Alex Morono. D-Rod definitely is the better stand-up, better striking, a little bit more technical on the feet. But I don't know, man. He's kind of looked a little slow and sluggish, and his stamina hasn't quite been there. And I think if Morono hadn't taken a couple of losses, he'd probably be the favorite. So I'm going to go along with Alex Morono. Next, we have Abdul Razak Halasan stepping in there with Josh Fram. I've got Abdul. Even though his last fight he ruined because of behind the head elbows, back of the head elbows, I should say. I'm going to go along with him to get the win. I think he should be able to knock out or stop Josh Fram. You know, I don't. If Josh Fram has a good game plan, maybe he could, take him down, kind of wear him out, tire him out, so those strikes won't be as powerful. But I think one way or the other, Abdul's going to get to him. He's going to get him out of there. Next, we have CJ Varga stepping in there against Ramazan Tiramov. I'm going along with Ramazan here. Um, CJ is he's a good fighter, but I don't know. He just hasn't quite delivered to me the way the UFC originally touted him and was trying to hype him up. So I'm going to go along with Ramazan to go out there and get the win. Then we have Jonathan Pierce stepping in the octagon with Pat Sabatini. I'm going along with another underdog pick. I'm going to go along with Pat Sabatini. Jonathan Pierce is lethal. He's a dangerous, dangerous fighter. Dangerous, dangerous fighter, but man, it's kind of weird because there's moments of a fight where he'll look like Pierce has got this one in the bag. You know what I'm saying? We can hit the bars early, y'all. DraftKings is paying out. Pierce got it in the bag. Then the next thing you know, you eating top ramen and drinking a Modelo at the crib by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't afford to go out. You know what I'm talking about? Because Pierce dropped the ball and lost the fight. So Pat Sabatini hasn't quite been the best, but you know, he's got some good tough guys he trains with, you know, gets a lot of advice from Paul Felder. I'm actually going to go along with another underdog pick. I'm going to pick Pat Sabatini to go out there and get the win. I think he can get a 3-round wrestlefield decision. Next, we have Themba Gorimbo stepping in there with Nico Price. I got Themba to go out there and knock out this man, Nico Price. Just knock him out. You know. I mean, you know, nothing personal against Nico Price, but man, just knock him out. Like, there's got to be a point where Nico Price realizes it's about time to leave the octagon, leave the gloves in the octagon. You know what I'm saying? Just go ahead. For real, what if Nico Price is walking out to the octagon and he's just taking them off? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, his music is playing, he's walking out to the octagon, unlacing his gloves, and just leaves them in there. Because it's about that time. Anyway, I got Themba Gorimbo to go out there and get the win. Next, we have Sugar Bear, Huggy Bear, Chris Barnett stepping in there with Junior Tafa. I got Junior Tafa. I think, you know, the Chris Barnett experiment, it peaked with that spinning kick that he beat might have been John Vellante with, but I got to go along with Junior Tafa to go out there and get the win. Next, we have Julia Pilastri stepping in there with Corey McKenna. Man, I'm going to go along with Julia. I think Corey McKenna is a pretty good fighter, but I just think Julia is going to bring that physicality to it. You know, she seems to be a little bit more stronger. I think she'll bring more of the physicality to the fight. I think she's going to win. You know, it's kind of hard picking a women's fight like this, but I'm going to go along with Julia to get the win. Next, we have Dan Argueta stepping in there with Cody Haddon. I got Cody Haddon. Dan Argueta, I don't know. I don't really think he's got it. You know, he's a good wrestler. He's an athletic guy. He's strong. But usually by about halfway through the second round, he's done so. The gas tank has been emptied. He's wrestled out. And it's about time to put him away. So I got Cody Haddon getting the win there. And then finally, first bout of the night, we have Clayton Carpenter stepping in there with Lucas Rocca. I'm actually going to go along with Lucas Rocca in this one. I'm a little, you know, I mean, both guys, there's not a ton of footage or anything out there for them. I mean, they don't have the most fights at all, period, in the UFC. But I'm going to go along with Lucas Rocca. I think, let me just take a look here. Well, wait a minute. I might not want to do that. His record is only 1-0 as a professional. And Clayton Carpenter is 7-0. Oh, man, we going along with Clayton Carpenter. Okay, so I'm going along with Clayton Carpenter to get the win there. Not really 4 first-round finishes, 2 wins by submission, 2 wins by knockout. I'm going along with Clayton Carpenter. So there it is. It is UFC at the Apex this Saturday night. Main event, Brandon Raw Dog Royval steps in there with Tetsuro Taira. I got Taira to win that. So We will see if a new contender will emerge at flyweight. Please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to check out my wrap-up of UFC 307. Be sure to at least watch the portion where I'm talking about Poatan, where I'm serving Juliana Pena and I'm serving Mario Bautista. Please check those parts out if you don't check out anything, because that video was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, but your boy was on a tear. So what do you want from me? Nevertheless, I appreciate you guys checking this out, and I do want to thank you for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And I check you next time. Peace.